We start with the lovely USS Hope as she is passing in front of us, and the title of this mission is Sweet Are the Uses of Adversity. And I think we have a personal log first from Commander Tuzon.
Chief Medical Officer's log, stardate 74196.4. After playing dodgeball and ping pong in the minefield aboard what remained of the Hastings, the last few days have been quote unquote normal, or at least as normal as you can be with 100 critical patients appearing out all at once. To handle this and all future emergencies, I've created a 4-tier plan. The goal of this plan is to reduce confusion and effectively treat all patients in a timely manner. Each patient will be evaluated at intake. Gamma and Delta teams will take care of all non-life-threatening injuries, with Gamma taking the more severe injuries of the two. Beta team will take care of stable but life-threatening injured patients, while Alpha Team takes all care of all critical life-threatening injuries as they arrive. If needed, the lower teams can step in to assist the overflow, with Beta taking Alpha and Gamma taking Beta. Delta teams will continue in all cases to take care of those with non-life-threatening injuries to move patients quickly. I've decided that Dr. Dalix will lead Delta Team, Dr. Lupus will lead Gamma Team, Dr. Bateman will lead Beta with Nurse Wynn assisting, and I will lead Alpha with Linaris assisting. I have chosen these doctors for the positions due to their knowledge and their experiences. This process seems to be working as we've been testing it with the survivors of the Hastings. Today we will be our critically injured patients, Commander Tuvor. He would have been sooner, but the stubborn Vulcan not or has chosen to martyr himself and wait for the rest of his crew to be treated. Bold but stupid, if you ask me. Since he is the last of the senior staff of the Hastings, it is important that he be ready for questioning when about the incident when the Hope is makes its rendezvous with the flagship, the USS Imperial, and Admiral Lavelle, whatever his name is. During this meeting, the Hope will transfer some of the recovering patients for the next order, while the Hope will be getting its new operations officer. I believe his name was Montgomery. I know that the ship's crew has been bored with the quiet ride along the border after the Hastings, but the medical staff and I have been rather busy and wouldn't mind a minute to breathe after our first real medical emergency together. And log.
And to give a different perspective, we also have a personal log from Mr. Furell.
Personal log, stardate 74196.4. The past several days have been a blur for myself and the rest of the crew on board the Hope. We've been working almost around the clock on the crew of the Hastings, who have all suffered injuries in some way, shape, or form. Commander Tuzon has placed me as second in command of Alpha Team, presumably for when other emergencies take his priority. Surgery has never really been my strong suit, but this period in time has forced me to learn and be better at it. This afternoon, we're starting to work on the patient that I somehow managed to save via electrocution, Commander Tuvor. I can't help but feel this was my fault, considering that I didn't feel safe trying to get that piece of bulkhead out without killing him. At some point, we'll also be meeting with the USS Imperial, which also contains Admiral Lavelle. We'll be transferring those who are no longer in critical condition to the Imperial, and in return, we'll be receiving a new ops officer. It's in Montgomery. I know I'm one of the only enlisted officers on this ship, but I don't plan on letting some young shit just out of the academy give me orders. God, I'm tired. Might have to take time on the holodeck soon. End log.
All right, thank you guys. The Hope does have modular laboratories, and I've never, on any ship that I've ever been on, asked this question, but you guys can decide with a modular lab on a ship what you would like to configure those labs to do, and if you do anything that relates to them, you'll get an advantage. Never asked you, but I'm asking you today. Would you like to do something special with those?
Huh. It's a hard question.
I think one should definitely be used for disease research.
Yeah, that I'm down for.
So researching for some diseases. Gotcha. Put that down. If that comes up, you guys, any task you take, we'll just assume that you're using the capabilities of that lab, and like I said, it'll give you an advantage.
All right.
Yay.
Okay. And we move to the bridge. And on the bridge, it's very much business as usual. For everyone that's not in the medical staff, it's been kind of a boring day or so, just getting the ship to where it needs to be at the border. It's actually towards the end of Alpha Shift, so it's the afternoon. Mr. Grecken reports. All right, Captain, coming out of warp in the Qualar system. Let me hit the brakes here. And the stars on the view screen shrink down into normal space, and ahead of you guys is the USS Imperial. The USS Imperial is the first ship in the class, the Imperial class. She is the largest projection of strength that the Federation currently has. Unfortunately, she is also very ugly. Instead of the normal Starfleet, graceful curve, she's got all sorts of hard edges, extra plating, lots of razor edges look like on the side. Like you maybe could cut your finger if you tried to touch it. But a lot of that's intentional to protect her sensitive systems. But Grecken, he turns to you, Isha, and he says, "Holy tribble on a taco! That is one ugly monster."
Okay, so one thing, Josh, check your mic because I think you're popping. Um, maybe we figure that out. But in character, I turn to Greg and I say, oh, hold up. Before I address what you just said, a tribble in a taco? You actually eat tribbles?
It's good protein.
Since tribbles.
You guys cut out there.
Ugh, everybody cut out. I think we lost connection.
I can hear everybody else. If anybody can hear me, I'm not sure.
I watched
I can.
my Discord disconnect and reconnect.
How much do I need to repeat, if any?
You were talking about triples.
Okay.
You're still popping.
Yeah, you're still popping, unfortunately.
Okay, let me try moving this to a region. Maybe that'll help.
Well, I think it's your local mic. Do you have a pop filter on it?
I do not.
That would be why.
Sounds more like interference.
Interference, okay.
So like if your cell phone is like next to your microphone, sometimes that will oddly pick it up. I don't know. We'll work with it though. So yeah, I'm like, so let me get this straight, Grecken. You not only are eating tribbles, but you know where some are alive, which is a violation of some accord with the Klingons.
It tastes good. Maybe it's illegal, but who's to know? But I'm getting rid of it, right?
I just slowly glance over my shoulder at the captain and give an exasperated shrug.
Captain Williamson just kind of looks at Grecken a little shocked. And then Lovely says, Captain, got a transmission coming in from Admiral Lavelle. He'd like to speak to you." And Williamson stands up and he says, "All right, Alpha Shift. Very good work today. You guys are all relieved. Commander, I'll take that transmission in my ready room." And he stops as he's going. Mr. Isha, if you don't mind, would you mind checking in with our guest, Mr. Capper, when you get a moment? No hurry. I'd like to just see how he's doing.
Certainly, sir.
And Greg leads to you as he's starting to get up. Are you gonna join us in karaoke tonight?
I don't sing.
That's not a prerequisite, you know.
It's karaoke. How is that not a prerequisite?
It's just, as long as your heart's in it.
I no longer have a heart for music. It died long ago.
And one of the junior officers comes up to you and gets prepared to relieve you from your station.
I get up up and I say, "Have fun at karaoke, Greg," and I'm gonna go check on our gas.
All right, all right. I hope to see you there. And the next scene that we transition to, so it's a very large conference room full of very important people. So Tuzan, with your plan, this is after you guys have been working pretty much throughout the night on patients. And before we get into what's going on here, can you roll me a command and control difficulty, say difficulty 2, to see how well the staff followed your orders, please?
Well, we're starting off the game really well.
Yeah, saw that coming.
Yeah, okay. So do you want me to keep that complication, or should I take some threat for it?
Just take the threat for it, or take it, or we can keep it. That's what I meant. We'll just keep it. We'll see what happens.
Okay, keep the complication. Gotcha. Why don't you roll me, let's say, D100, a percentile. Okay, what we'll say is that's how many patients you have lost, maybe in the night. So I'll set the scene for you, Tizan. You have a room full of your medical staff. There's lots of discussion. Things have not been going well. They have been lots of arguments, lots of disagreements. Lupus's voice is raised. Maybe he's yelling at Dr. Bateman. She's replying, yelling back at him. Linares, you're also here. The nurse Wynn is also trying to calm people down. And then you have Dr. Finley there. He's looking at something on a pad. And on the top of the table is his chicken, Margaret. Margaret's kind of walking back and forth. But it's just general chaos, Tuzan.
And I just raised my voice. Enough, everybody. Can we all sit, please?
Lupus looks at you, Tuzan. He's like, I will be filing a report in Starfleet Medical as early as convenience to just, this has been unacceptable, completely unacceptable.
Well, it would help if we all follow the plan that I published and gave you all. Some of us have, and some of us haven't.
And Bateman turns to you, Tuzan, and says, Doctor, is the chicken really necessary, Dr. Finley? Is it, do we have to have the chicken? And he says, oh, don't worry, she's a hologram. She's harmless, perfectly harmless.
I just rub my forehead. All right, so we've already been having issues following orders. Do we really want a hospital that loses patients because we can't follow the way that we're supposed to be doing things? Leaving that open to anybody who would like to talk.
And Lupus replies, perhaps if you utilized your staff in a more effective way, we wouldn't have lost as many patients. These are patients that we are perfectly able to treat, but it's through incompetence. He looks over at Bateman. It's through incompetence that we've lost so many to begin with. If the junior staff were tending to the less critical patients, and the more senior staff, like myself, were actually treating the more serious ones, perhaps we wouldn't have lost as many patients as we have.
Mr. Lupus, I'm still Chief Medical Officer, and I can still relieve you of your duty.
Be that as it may, if you decide to sideline one of your most senior surgeons at a time like this, I will also make sure to include that in my report to Starfleet Medical.
I report directly to Starfleet Medical too, and I'll make sure to make a note of your failure to follow orders. We've set up the tier system so that we can effectively address all patients as they're coming in. We've all been selected for the positions that you're at based on where we need people. Dr. Lupus, your Delta team, because that is where you can affect, or Gamma team, where that is where you can effectively use your skill. Gamma and Delta teams see the most patients that as they come in. We need people who are the more senior people running those teams because they are the most important. Beta and Alpha teams are for the critically injured. Yes, those that are coming in much worse. But that also means that their time is it takes them longer. We need the lower teams, the Gamma and the Delta teams, to be running at a quicker pace, addressing the illnesses that come in, the injuries that come in, and getting people back out as soon as possible so that we can address all the people that are coming in. The last I checked, my inexperience was not inexperience. You assume that I don't know what I'm doing. That I do not know what I'm doing when I am perfectly capable and have the service record to show that I do. Your ignorance to follow orders because you assume that I don't know what I'm doing is one of the reasons why we've lost patients. It's not the only reason. We are going to lose patients when they're coming in critically injured. They were in a vacuum. They were already in bad shape coming in. We were going to lose people. It's part of the field. It's horrible when it happens, but it's part of what we do. We can't save everyone, but we have to do our best to try to save everyone.
Tuzon, can you give me a command insight? Difficulty is going to be 1.
Hey,
There you go. There's some momentum. What you're definitely picking up here is everyone in this room looks very tired. Like Dr. Bateman, her eyes look kind of heavy. Hira, your young intern, even she who hasn't had too much to do. She looks a little tired. The room is as a whole. You can tell everyone's pretty.
so I'll just kind of relax. We've all had kind of a hell of a few days with so many patients coming in. We have one more patient that we needed to do their surgery. He's stabilized. It's not immediate emergency. Why don't we all take some time, rejuvenate, and come back tomorrow?
And Bateman says, she speaks up. Well, doctor, if you don't mind, I have patients to see.
Let's wrap up our shift, and we can let Beta Shift take control of everything. Dr. Bateman, I think that's on you, unfortunately.
And she says, well, despite I would say the misgivings of my colleagues, and she looks at Lupus, I think my staff and I are perfectly capable of handling the current patient load that we have. I don't see anything remarkable in our future.
Oh, good luck with Beta Shift. Everybody else, let's take some time to relax and come together with more level heads after this.
Sounds like a plan.
Dismissed.
Okay, and folks start filing out, and while they're starting to file out, Lieutenant Hera, she approaches you, Tuzon. Says, Doctor, if you don't mind, could I have a word?
Anything? What can I do for you?
Off the board here. Says, Doctor, the last day or so, I've been more in a support capacity with Dr. Finley, and while I appreciate being aboard a ship of this caliber, especially, I wonder if I wonder if my training couldn't be utilized a little more. I realize I'm just an intern who's recently graduated from Starfleet Medical, and I don't have any practical experience, but I have. I was one of the top of my class. I think I'm. If you give me the chance, I might have. I'd like the chance to prove myself, sir. It's been a stressful few days, but particularly with Commander Tuvor at his surgery, I would appreciate the chance in assisting you in that surgery.
I don't see why you shouldn't be able to assist me in the surgery. Things have calmed down. I wouldn't say that we're in medical emergency mode anymore. Tuvor is our last patient that we need to address from the Hastings. You can definitely come in and assist with the surgery.
Thank you, sir. I'll try not to let you down.
I don't think you will. Like you said, you have a lot of skills on you.
And she looks to you, Linares, and she says, "Well, specialist, I will see you in the operating room. I believe we have just a few minutes until we're supposed to get started."
Of course, I'll see you there, Lieutenant.
And Tuzan, it's at that point where your comm badge beeps. This is bridge to Dr. Tuzan.
I just go, I hit my comm badge. This is Dr. Tuzan. Go ahead.
Dr. Tuzan, this is Commander Lovely. Our new operations officer, Ensign Montgomery, is on his way. He's transporting aboard now. I'd like you to meet him at Transporter Room 1 and see to it that he finds his way up to the bridge. I'd like him to complete his first shift on Beta Shift.
Understood, Commander. I'll meet him there.
Very good. Bridge out.
Well, Specialist, would you like to walk with me to the transporter room?
Might as well.
Okay.
How do you think everything is going here, Specialist?
Well, considering the amount of patients we've lost, I'd like to say it could have gone better, but in a more morbid way, it could have been much worse.
Well, unfortunately in our field, it is a statistic that we do lose people, although it's never great when we do. But losing some is better than losing all.
Agreed. And Commander, I have to apologize for my lack of knowledge on how to save Commander Tuvor. If I had known better, maybe I could have saved him myself.
Specialist, you do not need to apologize. We learn as we go. I only knew the electrocution trick because, well, I've watched old movies.
And he kind of raises his eyebrows. What old movies have that?
Some older Earth movies. I would have to actually look back and figure out which ones that I watched in what little time we have extra.
Of course. Oh, we should probably get going.
As we slowly walk the corridors.
And speaking of corridors, the next scene that we transition to is in the hallways. I hope. I have Lieutenant Isha. Isha, as you're walking by, you see lots of the blue-dressed medical staff hurrying by back and forth. You do tend to stand out as one of the very few people wearing yellow. I'm going to say that you would have already figured out that Mr. Capere is in the lounge, and that's probably where you're headed. And as you're walking, you hear behind you, Lieutenant, wait up, please.
I stop and turn around and look for the source of the. Oh, it's Counselor Aaron.
And a person you know as Counselor Aaron, although you have not ever seen her before, she approaches you. What you notice immediately, she's wearing civilian clothing, and she is a Vorta.
Yes, Counselor. Can I help you?
Yes, Lieutenant. We haven't had a chance to catch up since the incident on Crucis 4. It's standard procedure in a situation where an officer has had to use weaponry or be in a combat situation for them to undergo a brief meeting or evaluation with the ship's counselor. You've been very busy, so I know you haven't had a chance to stop by, so I thought I would come by and at least see you before you continue on your duties.
I mean, how long would this take exactly, counselor?
It could be very brief. You seem fully functional and operational. I just want to make sure that I'm dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's, I believe is the human expression.
Something to that effect. I can assure you that I feel fine. I don't feel like I need to go on a murderous rampage to sate my bloodlust, if that's what you're worried about. However, I do have one concern. I did make a lovely joke, and I don't think that the commander is very happy with me.
Yes, I don't think our first officer has much of a sense of humor. Uh, as far as damaging that relationship, I can't say that I know her well to answer that, but it's probably best to stay professional with her in the future.
Trust me, my goal was to remain professional. It's simply that in the moment, after such a horrendous ordeal, uh, slip of the tongue happens to the best of us.
Oh yes, absolutely, Lieutenant. I completely understand. I have to admit that I am not familiar with your species. I don't think I've never seen another of your kind before.
Well, I mean, some would say that's just as planned. Others would say that it's because we're a rarity for a reason. We don't really get out, I believe, is the human expression.
In case you didn't know, I'm actually not a member of Starfleet. I'm here on the Officer Exchange Program with the Dominion. The hope of the founders was that by sending more of my kind out into the Federation, that we could begin to know the people and prevent any sort of conflict in the future. I've been on the ship only a short while. I did come to know your predecessor, Mr. Saturday, before he was transferred.
Anything I should know about him?
Mr. Saturday, nothing that I can share, unfortunately. It's a new situation for me, but there is a patient confidentiality regulation that I have to follow as ship's counselor. I just would say that there's more stress involved in being the chief of security on a hospital ship than one might think.
I suppose that's fair, though I'm sure that within the next week or so, I'll have to have some intruder alert drill or some sort of patient gone mad drill, something to keep the security staff involved.
Yes. I can't say that we have any situations like that coming that I'm aware of, but diligence is never a bad idea.
Excellent. Well, I don't mean to be rude, counselor, but I am checking in our very important guest. So unless there's anything else.
Oh, no, Lieutenant. Just I don't mean to keep you. I just wanted to catch up and see how things are going. Like I said, and especially reading the report on the situation on the planet, it sounded like a harrowing experience, and I just wanted to make sure that you were fine.
Oh, I'm just doing lovely. And then it paused for a second. Damn it, I did it again. I did it again.
She laughs. I can appreciate the humor, but you might want to keep that between us.
I plan on it, counselor.
And also, let me know. I have spoken to. I'm assuming you're talking about Mr. Capera. I've spoken with him briefly. He's a difficult nut to crack, but if you think that I can help in any way, please let me know.
I will certainly keep you in mind, counselor. You seem a very able and skilled counselor, so you're definitely someone I can trust.
Why, thank you, Lieutenant. That's certainly what I endeavor for. As you could say, I have the ears for it.
Ah, the Ferengi expression. Next thing I know, you'll be quoting the rules of acquisition at me.
I'm afraid I don't have quite the mind to remember all of that, but I am working on the humor.
Well, I think you're in a better position than I when it comes to that sort of thing.
Oh, very good, Lieutenant. I'll let you get back to it, and I'll see you around.
Uh, of course. Thank you, counselor. I appreciate the follow up. And then, yeah, I continue on my merry way.
And the next scene we transition to is the main transporter room of the Hope. And Linares, as you and Tuzan enter the room immediately, transporting into the transporter pad is Ensign Montgomery. And Ensign Montgomery, if you could tell us a little bit about what your character looks like.
He stands at 6'3", slim build, hair slicked back, and he's holding. And both of you for a second, and hello.
Hello, sir. You must be Montgomery.
Well, sir, I am Ensign Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm technically doctor. Whatever. Follow me this way. Welcome to the Hope.
He'll step down and reach out to shake your hand.
I will shake his hand.
He'll look
This is-
to Linares and smile.
I'll introduce Linares. This is Specialist Linares, part of the medical team here.
Pleasure to meet you. And he'll reach out his hand.
And he'll grab your hand in return. And it's a very firm handshake. Probably might be more or less than you were expecting. Who knows?
He just smiles and is like, so, I'm rather excited to be posted here.
Have you ever been on a medical ship before?
This is my first ship posting.
Have you ever stepped foot on a medical ship before?
No, I've only ever stepped foot on a station.
I was a chief medical officer at a station before here, so I can relate. Come this way. I'll show you to your quarters, and unfortunately, there's no rest for the weary. Our first officer, Commander Lovely, wants your first shift to be beta shift, so we can have time to drop you off at your drop your stuff off at your quarters, and then report to duty.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
This way, I'll show you where you're living.
You'll follow behind. Be looking around, just giving the, like just a excited smile as he's looking at everything.
So, Ensign, what has brought you out this far?
Well, it was recommended that I be posted on the ship, dealing with different situations of the medical nature, to expand my horizons, as I've been told.
Well, do a good job of expanding them, but not too far. So far, I mean, I'm new here as well, but we've already had one emergency. Let's hope we don't have a lot of emergencies all right back to back.
Well, if we do, I do hope I perform well enough to be of assistance. I have a wide range of skills that I have worked on after I founded my posting.
Interesting. I like you already. You like to study up. Careful. If we get into too much of a pickle, I might be calling on you to help bandage people up.
I do have training with medicine, and also my main focus on the ship right now will be the engineering side and some sciences.
Engineering, the yellow people and red people are where we tend to be lacking on a ship that is medically focused. Do a lot of medical research here, do a lot of medical treating on here, some scientific research, but we don't have a whole lot of other colors in our uniforms.
Well, I like to look at the body is one great machine with a bunch of different components. If you change your perspective, engineering and medicine can be very similar, of course with respects to patients, treatment, and tolerances.
That's definitely a good way of looking at things. I
And Mr.
imagine we're having
Tuzan,
this as we go
at
away.
this
Yeah.
point, I'm going to interrupt. Could you give me a medicine insight, please, at difficulty 4?
Oh dear God. I doubt any of my focuses are going to work here, are they?
Let me take a look. Be surprised. No.
No.
Nope.
Any talents that might come into play, like quick study?
No, I don't think so. You know
Right.
what? Your sensory replacement eyes Yeah, you could. If you succeed and you want to ask me questions, you could use that.
Okay.
This is a lot of picking up hints and clues and stuff. So yeah, your eyes might come in.
All right. I'm not going to try to threat bomb you, but I am going to give you at least I'm going to give you 3 threat for 2 extra die because I have bold medicine.
Okay.
Quick question: is this something that's pertaining to Montgomery, or
It will become apparent if Tuzon is successful. So
fair
go with
enough?
that.
Oh.
17, 19, 10, and 5. So not successful.
Can't you reroll if you have both that you gave me threat?
I did.
Oh,
I
you
can
did.
reroll
Oh,
one.
that's right. Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, I
It's
can
a
reroll
crit.
1.
Yeah.
Got 3 successes.
Yeah. Still short. Yeah. Yeah. Look at Montgomery.
Can Lenars assist?
If Lenars, if you assist, the way it's gonna work socially is like the two of you will stop and like talk about Montgomery to his face. It could be a very
Oh, that's
socially awkward moment.
it's fine. This is going to be an interesting question. Would my counseling focus apply here?
You know, actually, I think I would let that apply. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I would have insightful guidance. Wait, this would not be social conflict. Never mind.
No, not yet. This is more of an insight. I'll let you do an assist. If you succeed, though, we're gonna make this kind of socially awkward. With
Oh
your
yeah,
medicine insight.
We're
sure,
doctors. Our world is socially awkward.
exactly.
So true.
No.
Nope, that's an 18.
So Montgomery, you notice the two stop and kind of whisper to each other and almost point at you, but that's all they got.
He's just gonna look at them for a second, and then he's gonna reach into his bag and he's gonna hand Dr. Tuzon a pad. He's like, "This is for you."
Oh, well, thank you, Vincent.
And he'll look to Ladaris and smile. He's like, "So, what is your role on this ship?"
Chief anesthesiologist. Been working around the clock with the commander here as his second in command on Alpha Team for the survivors that were on board the Hastings.
I've only been given partial viewing of that report. I do look forward to reading the rest of it. It sounds interesting from what I was able to get access to. Hopefully, now that I'm aboard, I can see the full report, or at least what should be cleared for me.
I'm sure it would be.
Just look at you both for a moment.
Right, let's get you to your quarters and then back up to the ops before we have a lovely case on our hands.
Just look at you for a second, and then smile. Like, yes, the commander? Is this a reference to her?
No, none at all. This way.
You'll follow along?
And the next scene that the camera transitions to is the lounge on the U.S. So it's actually a very large lounge. It's near the back of the dome of the ship. Several people here coming off of Alpha Shift, mostly getting something to eat, just kind of hanging out with each other. In the corner, there is a karaoke stand. People are starting to get ready with karaoke. And of course, drinks are being had to make this situation a little more handleable or to be a little more easy. But that's all going on. As you walk in, it's fairly busy. But like I said, this is kind of common on the. See, off in the corner by himself is Mr. Capere.
Well, is he drinking anything? Is he looking at other people? Is he looking out the window?
Yeah, he's doing all those things actually.
All right. Well, I'll mosey on over. Not like a direct beeline or anything. Maybe say to hi to a few people along the way. But once I reach his table, I say, Compare, do you have a moment?
Of course, Lieutenant Isha, is that correct?
That is correct. I wanted to check in and see how you were doing.
Thank you. I never got the chance to thank you for your role in rescuing myself and the other crew members of the Hastings.
Well, I mean, I wish we could have gotten there sooner, but, we did the best we could.
Yes, it is very unfortunate, especially since the ship was damaged in a situation related to myself. By rescuing me, the ship was put into danger, and for that part, I am very regretful.
Well, as long as it wasn't intentional, I suppose no skin off your back or something along that. I must confess, I try to use human expressions sometimes, but they don't really translate well to me. Maybe
Yes,
it's by the skin of a teeth? I'm not sure.
I understand what you mean, Lieutenant. Would you like something to drink?
Oh, no, thank you. Trying to keep my calorie count down, but what is it you're drinking?
I'm drinking an earth drink. It is called orange juice.
Oh, that vile stuff.
I have to admit, at first, it was very much not to my liking, but the more that I have consumed it, it has started to grow on me.
Wait, is this the kind with or without pulp?
I was not aware that there was a distinction.
Oh, well, yeah, that's why I don't like it, because it's got like pulp in it, like actual fruit parts in it. Ugh. Isha just shudders.
One of the crew on the Hastings said that the orange juice matched my cheery disposition. Not sure what she meant, but that's why I've continued to drink it.
Eh, I I don't know enough about it to make a comment, but I'm sure it is some Earth joke that neither of us would understand.
They are an interesting group, the Earthers.
Indeed, they are, trying to play peacekeeper in a time where perhaps peacekeeper is not the best way to go about it.
And I do have to apologize, Lieutenant. You have caught me in a moment of introspection. I have been thinking about old friends. Watching the companionship of the crew on your vessel has made me a bit say I have some regrets, is to put it lightly.
Well, I certainly do not wish to interrupt your reverie, but I did want to come down here and at least ask, do you have a preference for where we take you next? I don't think the captain really has a problem with you being here, but we would like to get you to where you'd like to go as soon as possible.
It is my understanding that I have a debriefing with the Admiral on the starship, and he points out the window, and there's
Ah, on the Imperial. Well, I meant more after that. Were you headed to Federation space? Were you headed somewhere else?
I honestly had not given it very much thought. There is the Romulan Vulcan colony, but my whole life has been spent in service of my people. I came here to ask for help. I never expected my mission to be successful, and to be honest, I hadn't given it much thought.
Well, it probably would be a good thing then if you have the time to consider an answer, because I'm sure the Admiral is going to be, shall we say, a lot more inquisitive than I'm being, if I know how Admirals work these days.
It is strange. I've thought on this extensively lately. Not very long ago, the Romulan Empire was one of the strongest forces in the galaxy, and now we are forced to beg for help wherever we can.
Well, I believe there is an old Earth saying that things go in cycles. Sure, you might, as an empire, not be as strong as you once were, but Perhaps that's just because you're in a waning year, or is it waxing? I never remember. The point being that as long as there is one Romulan alive, I'm sure the Empire could rebuild.
I would like to think so. I will think on your question, Lieutenant. I am not sure if I could ever find peace as long as more of my people are in the galaxy suffering.
It's a very common sentiment, and I would recommend our ship's counselor if you wish to have a actually trained counselor address some of your concern.
Lieutenant, I wish to have nothing to do with the Vorta.
And at this, I see, or Isha seems a little bit taken aback, like, "Oh, what's wrong with Vortas?"
I have been around long enough to remember the Dominion War. I remember at the head of a fleet of destruction was a Vorta that looked very much like the one on this ship. I have nothing to say to her.
So in her head, Isha notes that down, and also the fact that, as far as she knows, that was a Tal Shiar operation. So she's not going to challenge him on it, but she'll be like, "Oh, I see. My apologies." But in the back of her head, she just basically confirmed what she'd been thinking from square one.
Kind of character, Aaron does look exactly like Eris, the Vorta. And remember, like what the Vorta do is they have several clones that they. So you'll see one Vorta in many places. It's different Vorta, but they're all kind of built from the same template.
Right. Well, I will leave you to your own devices, Compare. If you need anything, please let myself know or someone else, and I'm sure we can handle whatever you need done before your debriefing.
And thank you again, Lieutenant. It is good to be among friends again.
Oh, one more friendly bit of advice as I stand up. They're going to start singing, and a Tellarite's going to be the lead, so you might want to finish your drink, get the hell out of here. Just personal advice.
Ah, thank you, Lieutenant. I've heard Tellarite singing before. It is not something I would like to experience again. Do you have another place on the ship you would recommend?
Well, I sort of like the lounge 10 forward, or not 10 forward, 2 forward. It's similar here to 7 aft, but it's a little bit, what's the human expression? Quaint? Smaller, less of a crowd.
And since you called it, at this point, Grekin starts singing.
He starts singing 9 to 5, and I'm like, nope, I'm gone. Nope.
I was actually thinking Michael Bolton, but yeah, we can go back to 9 to 5.
I was expecting Piano Man.
Oh God, all of these are bad decisions.
He's going to maybe transition through all of those, but let's say he's starting with Michael Bolton and he's going to move on to the next episode.
But yeah, as I leave the bar though, I do sort of tap my comm badge so that like out of earshot of Compare, and I say, Captain, when would be a good time for me to speak with you about our guest?
Moment passes. Ooh, Lieutenant. Actually, our guest is about to join me in visiting Admiral Lavelle on the Imperial. There's something wrong.
Well, let's call it a hunch. They said something that has me concerned.
Why don't you meet me on my ready room? There's still some time before we're supposed to head over.
I will be right up, sir.
And the next scene, what we'll do is, Isha, you maybe are walking onto the turbolift at the same time as Mr. Montgomery. Currently on the turbolift headed towards the bridge. The other two doctors have dropped you off, Montgomery, but yeah, you just entered the very small confines of the turbolift with Isha.
Hello.
Hi, you're a new face.
I am, sir. I am Ensign Montgomery.
Hmm. Ops, right?
Yes, beta shift.
Count yourself lucky. You don't have to deal with Grekin.
Is he the other operations manager?
He's con officer, Tellarite. Can't miss him. He's one of the very few Tellarites we have on board.
Ah. Well, then I look forward to seeing him.
See, you say that now. I'll let you figure it out on your own. Oh, word of advice: never, ever, ever, ever make a joke about Lovely's name, even if it's an accident. Just don't do it.
Yes, sir.
I say this not because I'm trying to be your superior. I say it as a colleague to colleague. It's just a bad idea.
Understood. I will make sure not to make a joke around her.
And one other thing. I sort of look him up and down. He is human, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't happen to be an augment, would you?
No, I'm no augment.
Okay. I always like asking that of humans because they always have such interesting responses when I ask that. Some are impressed, some are put off. I see you're in the latter category, for which I will apologize for.
I'm not simply put off by it. It's just I am not an augment.
Hey, Isha, since you're examining Mr. Montgomery, why don't you do that medicine insight difficulty 4 roll for me also?
Yeah. Any of my focuses apply. I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, well, that's a 12. Let's see. I will give you our 1 momentum. And I'm curious, so I'm going to give you 2 more threat on top of that for 4 dice. Oh, so close.
You do now have
It was a
13
13.
threat, so just wanted to let you guys know that
Oh,
this is where we are.
I mean, you dangle such a juicy plot thread in front of us, we got to go for it.
Isha, you can't really glean anything else from Montgomery. You actually can't read him very well at all, which is quite interesting.
He'll just look at you for a moment during this pause and smile. It's like, this is the second time I've had this pause.
I'll be straight with you. There's just something about you that I can't put my finger on.
Well, I was always told I was made to look good. He'll give you a little short smile. Like,
You're not an android, are you?
now, what would make you suggest that?
Well, simply the turn of phrase that you were built this way.
I simply said made to look good.
Eh,
A lot of parents say that to their individual children. They're handsome or beautiful.
maybe it's just been a long day. Who knows?
Just smile and was like, well, I do look forward to working with you. I may not be as capable in the security department, but I do hope I can learn something from you.
Well, if there's one thing you can learn from me, it's that phasers can be used in a variety of ways. For example, they can be used as a suturing device.
Focusing the aperture lens to a fine point,
Yep.
render it a virtual laser scalpel. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very handy in an emergency situation.
I'll
I'll
see at
keep that
this
in
point
mind.
the doors to the turbo lift open, and Commander Lovely turns to you and says, "Emergency situation. What are you referring to, Lieutenant?"
I was simply bringing our new ops officer, Ensign Montgomery, up to speed on certain current events.
Very good. If you're done keeping the ensign from his duties,
I just sort of motioned for Montgomery to go out first because I'm headed to the ready room.
and the ready room's like over there.
Montgomery will quickly go to the station, sit down. He'll look at the display and start changing it to his layout as a personal layout.
And Commander Lovely goes over to you, Montgomery, and she says, "Ensign, my name is Commander Joanna Lovely, the executive officer of this vessel. Yes, my name is Lovely. You can try to make a joke if you'd like, but I promise I've heard all of them. Also, I have no sense of humor, as you will quickly discover, and you may have already been told that by the lieutenant.
I have simply been told that you're a wonderful XO and a commander that I should aspire to be. That
Excellent.
is,
Those things are correct.
as he's talking with her, he's making eye contact with her while he's still changing his layout.
And she turns and walks away. If you require any assistance in operations, let me know.
I will. Thank you, Commander.
He turns to you. Lieutenant Isha, your duty cycle is over. Is this your idea of relaxing or recovering? You don't have to be on the bridge.
No, I'm literally waiting for the captain to open his ready room door, and I push the button again.
She says, well, let me help you. And she hits a few buttons on her chair and the door opens.
Thank you. And I assume I step in, the captain's either dead or he's in the middle of something.
Williamson is reading a pad and he watches you as you enter. The ready room is actually very, very small. It's very Spartan for a vessel of this size. Lieutenant, please come in. Sorry, I was distracted. I'm reading some information from the admiral.
I will be very brief then, sir. I don't want to take up too much of your time. There was something our guest said that spoke with me. I don't know what it is, but are you very familiar with the events surrounding the Dominion War? Those specifically regarding the Tal Shiar?
Oh yes, Lieutenant. I have been in Starfleet for quite a while. I was actually on a medical ship during the Dominion War.
Well, I bring it up, sir, because again, this is all secondhand knowledge, sir. I was not present in Starfleet when this happened, but standing is that apparently the Tal Shiar and the Obsidian Order attempted to destroy the Founders' homeworld, ended up completely destroying the Founders. Anyway, the Founders destroyed every single operative on both the Tal Shiar and Obsidian Order ships. I bring it up, sir, because our guest has mentioned that one of the Vorta in charge of the fleet that did that supposedly looks like our counselor. And it just seemed odd to me that someone like that, our guest, would know such a thing.
What are you thinking, Lieutenant?
It's baseless speculation at this point, sir. I don't really have any, solid evidence, but I think there's a lot more at play here that we don't know about our guest. Whether that means they're actually Tal Shiar or if they just are a history buff. I don't know. There was just something about the emotional response that my gut tells me isn't right.
And Lieutenant, let's assume the worst. If he is Tal Shiar, what does that mean for us?
It either means that they're here to spy, which you would think doesn't mean much with the Empire in its current state, but the Tal Shiar are sort of the Romulan version of Section 31, which, as far as we all know, is gone, I think. It's required reading at Starfleet Academy anyway.
Lieutenant, I will say that I was very impressed by Mr. Capere's ability to get out of what used to be Romulan space and make his way here. Seems very industrious. It's very possible he has connections to Tal Shiar, although as far as we know, there is no Romulan government anymore of any kind.
Well, I would simply say, sir, that if possible, I would recommend you carry around at least a Type 1 hand phaser. It could not hurt to have an extra on hand in case, for some reason, stuff goes haywire.
Oh, okay, Lieutenant, I think I could do that. I'm also very confident in your abilities to protect the ship from any kind of harm.
Of course, sir. That's all, though. I will not take up any further of your time.
Well, Lieutenant, while I have you, I've been wondering. It's my last security chief and I had numerous conversations on the fact that how are you settling into life here on the Hope?
Well, I've dealt with 2 emergencies so far, and it's a lot more active than my last posting, I can tell you that much.
A lot of people see a hospital ship as a place where excitement doesn't happen, but I can certainly say that's not true.
Yes, I'm beginning to see that, sir. I just simply wish that the emergencies were more blue colored than yellow colored, if you know what I mean.
I do indeed. And he turns to put the pad on his desk. And actually, Isha, you noticed something. If you can give me another one of those medicine insights roll, but this one's going to be a difficulty of 2. And actually, one of your focuses does come into play.
Oh, interesting. I'll give you a threat. Why not? 3 dice. Let's get some
Sure.
momentum here.
I don't have enough threat. Give me some more.
Wow. I succeed, but there's the complication. I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a threat for the complication because I don't want a complication. But hey, that gets us what? 1 momentum?
Yeah. What you
So
rec-
we'll see. Go ahead.
What you recognize on Captain Williamson is on the back of his head, there's a small metal implant, which looks like he might have sustained an injury at some point. And this implant isn't, it's not like it's driving his brain. He's not an android or cyborg or anything like that. But it's probably a sign that he may have had some brain damage at some.
But it's not something that would have been in his file, correct?
It would have been in his medical file.
Right, and as a tactical officer, would I have had access to such a thing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then I'm simply going to choose not to comment on it for now.
Like when Captain Picard came back from the Borg incident and he had those bandages on his head.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't that. This is an actual implant, as in something is it's serving a function, a permanent function.
Right. I mean, again, unless he brings it up or I know about it from a medical perspective, I just assume that he needs it for some reason or another. It's not my place to pry.
And he turns to you and says, "Well, Lieutenant, I appreciate your candor and looking out for the ship. And of course, I want you to know if you ever see anything else or have any other concerns, my door is always open. Or in
I
this case,
appreciate that, sir.
Commander Lovely is always ready to open my door."
Yes, maybe I can get Ensign Montgomery to see about fixing your comm beeper.
Oh, it's I'm sure it's just fine. I'm distracted.
Very good, sir. I will
The
leave you
problems
to
of
it.
old age, which I hope you will encounter yourself one day, is that you don't have the ability to multitask quite as much. But it's one of those problems we all have to look forward to if we're lucky.
Of course, sir. And if you haven't gotten the vibe, like Isha's like already said her piece and she just wants to go, but every time she gets closer to the door, the captain says something and she has to turn around, listen, and then make more progress towards the door. It's one of those things you do with your grandparents every now and again.
Yeah, he's just gonna keep pulling you in. You just have to like walk out the door. You can't let him pull you back in.
Right. And I think that's what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna go for the door this time, almost at like a half sprint.
And at this point, a few moments have passed. We're actually going to transition to the surgery ward. And what we've got here, as the medical team has been getting ready to deal with Commander Tuvor. So Tuvor is one of the last very critical patients that you guys have had to deal with. He's actually been in stasis because he's been so bad off. I think Tuzon, you, Lenoris, and Mira were going to attempt to get him back and remove that shrapnel from his chest, and then hopefully get him in a condition where he could be moved off the ship.
Yep.
So as you guys have made your way into the room, the scene we can see you're all wearing sort of white, very antiseptic clothing. You traded out your uniforms. The room is sealed. Like as you walk in, a force field activates to keep the room perfectly clean and sealed. And Nurse Wen is sitting off to the side. She's got a console monitoring vitals and everything. And she says, "All right, just to announce for the record, we are performing operations on Commander Tuvor in an attempt to stabilize his condition. The head surgeon will be Dr. Tuzon Edon, third officer of the ship, assisted by Specialist Lenaris Furel and Lieutenant Herrick."
Thank you, Nurse Wen. I will walk up to Tuvor. All right, guys. We have to do this quick and effectively, and there's no doubtedly going to be a lot of internal damage as soon as we get the shrapnel out.
And Harris says to you, Commander, I've been studying Mr. Tuvor's case. It's quite remarkable that the specialist was able to, I should say, move the commander in his current condition. I wonder if that temporary measure may have actually made this situation worse.
Well, we moved him via transport onto the shuttle, and I advised him to electrocute him to cauterize wounds. So we'll be undoing that.
Understood, sir. I'm very interested to see what procedure you're going to use here. I can't wait to see how you undo this damage. It's going to be very interesting.
At the very least, we're going to have to remove the cauterization and kind of do a lot of reconnection, as well as some cadaver or regenerated vessels.
So, Tuzan and Lenores, I want to let you guys know you've been working pretty solid the last day. You haven't really had much rest. Whenever we're going to do any tasks with you, your complication range is actually going to be a 3, you two guys. But I'll give you this. You can knock that out, remove it back totally to normal. But the way you do that is if you take a stimulant, that will get you back on your feet, and you won't have that increased complication range.
I am okay with a stimulant.
Okay.
As am I. We're gonna need it. So
Okay. I'll take
Metagaming pigeon. It's a trap. It's a doctor trap. Don't take the stimulant.
I am fully aware, considering I will probably be taking a stimulant tonight to drive.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
we will crash afterward.
Yeah, so you guys can take your stimulant, and that will take away that increased complication range here. So, Suzanne, how are you going to do this? Are you going to do this by the book, or are you going to try to come up with anything a little more creative to try to fix Mr. Tuvor here?
I'm going to try to follow the book as much as possible. However, the book gets thrown out the door as soon as we get the shrapnel out and see what the real damage is.
Okay. Let me show you the extended task that you're going to have here for treating the deep-fried Vulcan.
oh no.
So to read through it, it's a difficulty 5, resistance 1, work 15, 4 intervals, and it's a magnitude of 4. 4 intervals are very important because if you start operating on him, if you run out of time, oh, I think he's going to run out of time too.
Oh. Okay.
You are on a ship that has the advanced 6 base, so that does reduce the difficulty 1 at all times because of your advantage. So you currently have a difficulty of 4. However, because you guys give me 16 threat, I've got to start spending some, so I'm going to raise that back up to a 5. And that is a, let's say, the first step is going to be probably a medicine daring to uncauterize his wound and get this piece of shrapnel out of him.
If you wouldn't mind, Tuzan, I think I'd actually like to have Lenars take the lead on this.
All right.
Yeah.
I have surgery as a focus. I can blow a value. I'm hitting a daring medicine of 15.
I have a daring medicine of also 15, but I think I've got at least some stuff that can make this a lot easier on us. Hopefully.
Well, I have quick study, which isn't necessarily
Nah, that's just foreign stuff.
right.
We know Vulcans.
We know Vulcans. We don't know a deep fried Vulcan, but we know Vulcans. I was gonna say, if you think what do you have that might be able to do something with this?
I have practice makes perfect, and then I also have fellowship specialty anesthetics. So what I'll be looking to do, if this would work with you, Josh, is essentially I would work on cauterizing the wounds while also applying like localized like anesthetics and antiseptics to maybe clean it out while also possibly preventing some of the very heavy bleeding that's about to happen?
Sure.
Because
Okay.
yeah, I also have everyone has a purpose for a value that I can use. It's not a good value to use right now. I'm quick on my feet. With time comes experience. So, if you want to take the lead on this one, we can switch who takes the lead based on what is needed.
Yeah.
So, Lenore, so I'm following you. You're going to use your anesthetics focus so that you can use fellowship specialty to create, I'm assuming afterwards, an advantage.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good. And then if you do succeed on the next task that you have, that will reduce your difficulty on the next medicine task for this patient by 1 because of practicing.
Yep. And then so I'm just hoping to blow this out of the water, basically.
That'd be ideal. So I will assist. My surgery focus comes into play. Do you have a focus that comes into play?
I would have anesthetics in this case.
All right. Are you going to buy
And so
extra?
each attempt that you guys make takes 2 intervals. You can, and I do recommend spending momentum to change that. Got those momentum spins in the rules section on what you could do to make that better.
Trust me, I am gonna blow my determination on this roll just so we can maybe generate some momentum here.
Okay. Difficulty 5, medicine daring for all involved.
Yep.
What is to make the interval go less? Is it just 1 or is it 2?
Just 1.
I believe it's 1.
So let's burn our momentum to make the interval 1 instead of 2.
You
Yeah.
still have to succeed.
Yeah.
No, I think that's actually something you spend at the beginning of the interval, and it happens even if you fail.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you burning your determination,
Yep. Everyone deserves a chance to live.
so that gives you an autocrit. So we're at 2, which
Yep.
means you and I just need to get 3.
Yeah.
Oh dear God. Oh fuck!
Oh,
Well,
of
we're off to a
course.
lovely start.
Sorry, didn't mean to curse.
Good. 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 Good.
So I'm
I
reading
can't
4, is that correct?
I can't even burn my determination to reroll mine, can I?
Nope, because you're assisting, and assisting can't
Yep.
use determination.
All right, I'm gonna take this complication, and let me describe what happens. Linares, as you're working to remove the shrapnel and unsolder, I guess. Yeah, I don't think they have any rerolls.
Nope.
As you're working to unsolder the stuff that you did before to remove the shrapnel, you're noticing that Hera, as she's assisting, she's holding the laser scalpel very, very precariously. Like she's holding it in a way sort of like that it could very easily like slip out of her hand. And as this is happening, Tuzon, maybe you're a little distracted. You've had a lot going on your plate. You're really concerned about Tuvor. You know how important he is, and you're not really watching Hera. And what happens is Tuvor kind of moves at the last minute, and when he moves, his arm hits Hera, and her laser scalpel just goes right across his chest and makes a huge incision. And so what I'm doing here is I'm spending that complication to increase the resistance by 2. So your resistance is now 3. This is an unforeseen problem. He has another injury which is also now bleeding out currently from this.
Good.
Hera turns like completely white. She starts like a spray of green blood goes down her white uniform, and she just kind of steps back and she's just horrified. She's like, Doc, Doc, what, I did that.
Step away from the laser scalpel. All right. Linares, we got even bigger problems here.
Yeah, that we do.
All right.
Okay, so I'm taking off 1 of your intervals, so you have 3 left.
I don't even have momentum. Oh, I don't want to give you this much threat.
I think at this point we're going to do the same thing. The difficulty is 4 again, which I'm also going to make up to a 5 because I have all this threat. So the difficulty is still a 5, and I will say at this point it's still a medicine daring.
Yeah. burning my determination that everyone has a purpose, giving you a threat to get the interval down, so we're not spending 2. I don't want to give you more threat.
I think you have to, man.
I have to. Well, and I have bold medicine, so I will give you 2 threat for the 3rd die, so I can re-roll. That gives me a re-roll. And then Linaris, you're assisting.
Yep.
Oh. Oh my god.
That
We
is
made it.
5. That is 5 successes. Very good.
Plus my
7.
plus my 2.
Oh, okay. 7. Yep. 2 momentum.
And luckily, it's 7 challenge die.
You have a resistance of 3.
All right.
That's-
Well, if you spend the 2 momentum, you can get rid of that resistance. Or you could just spend 1 and you get rid of
I'll
2
just
resistance.
spend 1. I'll just still gives me a breakthrough.
Right, but the problem here is because we didn't declare it when the interval started. This takes 2 intervals, just so you know.
Yeah, I did.
No, he
I
gave
can't-
it. He gave
me
a
a
threat.
for it. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
He gave me a threat.
Yeah, I gave him 3 threat, 1 for the interval and 2 for the extra die.
Ah, I missed that. That's my bad.
So let me know what we're doing here with the challenge roll. Are we gonna try to reroll that 0 or anything?
No, we spent the momentum to get rid of 2 resistance.
Okay, so you have
So it's
1
still
resistance left.
But it's I have over 5, so it's still breakthrough.
Okay, so you have 7 off. 7 total here if you take 1 off for resistance. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Or not stealing anything from you. So that's certainly
Wait, no.
one breakthrough right away, which lowers the difficulty to 4.
Oh.
And take 7 off of the work track, which gives you. Oh. However, what's going to happen is as you are removing this object from Tuvor, so Tuzan, you successfully unsoldered the joining of his tissue to this metal piece, but you notice as you're removing it that something happened, maybe with that electrical shock, that a lot of the metal portion that was inside of his torso seems to have ruptured in a way, and he has little pieces of metal throughout his entire torso now, and that's going to be reflected as a dead end. Some threat here, and what that does, basically, story-wise, that means you're going to have to really shift gears here. This is not just removing the shrapnel from before. You're going to have to figure out how to remove all the pieces out of his chest tube. But the way that complication resolves is I'm taking 4 points back off of the work track. So you had progress of 7. Now you have progress of.
But it still counts as a breakthrough.
Yeah, that original breakthrough. Yeah, from having more than 5. Yeah, this is after that. I'm just taking away your progress.
All right.
You have 2 intervals left.
Okay.
A difficulty of 4, a 3 with the ship, with advanced sick bays. I am going to raise that with all this threat back up to a 5, though.
And with noted.
I mean, if you've got a value that you can challenge, or if there's one that he can tap to give you a negative consequence, this would be the time for it.
Well, I have the orb experience talent that comes from being Bajoran, and I have an additional value that reflects my insights received from the experience. But the first time this value is challenged, roll 1 challenge die if its effect roll, then some foretold element of the orb experience has come to pass, and the value is not crossed out. Pretty sure that value I chose was people change over time, which I don't know how I could try to challenge.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if Tuvor is important enough for that.
Yeah.
I would say that I will challenge. If you want to challenge, you can't save them all.
Right, that's what I was kind of thinking.
And what we'll say is, for whatever reason, I'll let you explain it why you feel obsessed with trying to save him. Like right now, he's taken such a southern turn. You and your note, like everyone in this room knows, chances of walking away are very slim. But you could really try to pull out all the stops and try to save him.
Challenge that because I feel like I put him in the spot between telling Linares to electrocute him and then allowing Hera into this. Plus, it was my critical failure that put him in the spot.
Yeah, took advantage of your complication with her to create an even worse situation.
I'm going to challenge you can't save them all.
Okay.
To give me my point of determination back, and I'm going to tap quick on my feet because we're trying to get through this quickly and effectively.
Okay.
And you're giving him.
Hera looks around at all the blood that's going on. Like there's probably blood everywhere now as you've removed this thing, and she says, "Doctor, how can I help? This is should we start an emergency procedure to get more transfusion?"
Blood transfusion is definitely.
And Wen speaks up. She says, "Dr. Tuzon, I recommend at this point we put the patient in stasis. I don't think he's going to make it."
Let's try to get as much of the metal out before we put him in stasis right now. And if we need to, we'll put him in stasis in a few moments.
And Hera says, "Doctor, if you put him in stasis right now, he's probably not coming back anyway."
We're going to try to get as much of the metal addressed and get everything taken care of as quickly as possible. If need be, we'll call it. But right now, let's keep going. So, burning my determination for the auto crit.
Before you get started, are you going to give me something to reduce that interval spend? You have 2 intervals.
Yes, I was. Let's do the momentum for that. I'll give you 2 threat for my bold medicine. So to get the 3rd die.
Okay.
I'm still rolling 3.
Let's see here.
So at this point, it's probably a medicine control. So I think you're working on getting the metal bits out of this torso.
Okay. Same number as daring. Control, daring, and insight are all 10s for me. So.
Okay.
That's better.
Linares, you can also assist.
Yeah.
Medicine control.
Do I have?
I think you're at 6 successes now.
Yeah. I don't have a focus here, so we'll just roll. Hey.
7 successes gives you 2 momentum. Take off 1.
1, 2, 3, 6. The resistance is still 3?
Yeah.
So if we just use a momentum to shave off the 2 resistance, we'll at least still have a breakthrough.
We still have a breakthrough.
Right, but you need to look at what you need to do to succeed at this point, and you need to get 2 breakthroughs with your next roll. And the only way to do that is either to have an engineer with Miracle Worker, or you have to complete the work track.
And the work track's 15, and we're at 4.
Or I believe
you're at 3.
the other thing that would work is the surgery savant talent from the science book.
I do not have that.
You're our chief surgeon. You should.
I'll work on it. I don't even remember that. I was looking at the talents in that book. I don't even remember that. Yeah, but the only way we can even get it is re-roll and then also do piercing.
Right, you would have to spend one of the 2 momentum we have on re-rolling those 2 zeros and hoping they roll 2s or higher.
Well, you can't get higher. You have to get 2s.
Well, you got to think positive here.
There's the chart if it's helpful on what you can spend momentum on. You could give me a ton of threat and get extra work, and then also use piercing.
Right. Well, I also don't want to threat bomb, but it's also for the reroll. It's not just reroll zeros. I can reroll any number, so I could technically reroll 6, all of those 1s for a chance. It's a really risky chance to get 2s.
I mean, as you're patient, you make the call.
Let's spend a momentum. I'll reroll 6 challenge dice, so we keep the 2, and I will try to get as many 2s as I can.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And then we'll spend the other momentum that we had for the piercing to get rid of 2 resistance.
Okay.
Holy cow!
Okay. Shoot.
So we have 1 resistance. I kept the 2, the 1, 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 9.
Wouldn't it be
If I give it
11 if we're adding everything up?
No, because I only
'Cause there's 4 2s and then
I re-rolled everything but the 2 from the first roll.
Yeah, I count 11 though from that because if you've got
because the effects also count as 1.
Yeah.
Oh, I just can't count 2, 4, 6. 8,
I'm
9,
counting
11.
11 with 1
11.
resistance.
11
Yes.
with 1 resistance, so that's 2 breakthroughs.
No, because it still doesn't complete the work track, and it's only.
Well, I thought
when
it was
you
every 5.
No, it's only when you go above
Oh,
5.
I thought it was every 5.
The
No,
work
but
track,
you definitely have put it within striking distance of completing the work track, which for your last interval is all you need to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't, not to try to metagame, but if you have 10 on the work track, 10 more on the work track is going to put you at 13. If you give me 2 threat, that fills up the work track and you get an extra. So that gives you 2 breakthroughs and you only have 1 left that you need on your last.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay, so that gives you 2 more breakthroughs, so you have 1 left. Good news is, because you have 2 breakthroughs, that lowers the difficulty down to a 2.
Oh, wait a second. If we give him 1 more work on top of that, because it's work after the work track has been completed, that's another breakthrough for 3 total breakthroughs.
Well,
might as well.
I was going to be a little bit of a jerk after I gave you that advice. I'm going to spend some threat to take back some of that work track. So I'm spending 2 threat to take 4 off of it. You've already got the breakthroughs, so that's what counts. But I'm taking 4 off of the work to take you back down to 11.
Well, here's your threat bomb. Use it wisely.
So what happens is, Tuzan, you've managed to remove a lot of the shrapnel from his chest. However, what happens is he starts to go into a stroke because there has been so much blood loss to his brain. So you can close him up, give him a transfusion, and cure that brain damage with your magical 24th century technology. But at this point, he's very critical. You need to stop the bleeding right away.
Right.
Reflected in your last check here.
All right. Last hurrah. It's difficulty 2?
Difficulty 2. Actually, difficulty 1 with the help
Difficulty
of the ship.
1 with the medical suites. So difficulty 1, I'm going to give you a threat for a 3rd die, so I get bold medicine. And we're gonna roll the shit.
Looking good.
And you said this was daring medicine?
Control.
We're control medicine at this point.
Gotcha.
Whichever's better.
Cool. So I think that gives you 2 momentum.
2 momentum.
Resistance is still 3, but if you
we're gonna spend the 1 to re-roll those zeros.
Okay.
I can only have 1 miracle and challenge die a session apparently. That's better. And the other 1 for piercing, so it's 1 resistance. 2, 4, 6. 8.
Well, with 8, you didn't have to bother. That still is 5 that gets past it, and that gets you the break.
Well, we still have to spend it for the interval, so.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that is important.
Oh, I didn't even think about that at the beginning. Because I'm like, it's the last interval regardless.
Okay, so I would say frantically, the two of you work to close up Tuvor. You, like I said, and you treated the stroke that he was having, and you managed to give him some more blood from the Vulcan blood that you had on hand. And it was a grisly operation. I would say that the medical bed is covered in blood. You guys have blood all over your white uniforms. Of course, Hera, from her accent, also is covered in green Vulcan blood. But he looks stable after a few minutes. Wynn says, "Okay, all right, Dr. Tucson, I think he's gonna make it. That was rough."
I just take a deep breath. Keep him in intensive care unit. Keep constant monitoring on his vitals. Make sure that a brain scan is conducted. We don't know what that stroke would have has done to brain functions. And have him set up that if anything happens, it immediately alerts all medical staff.
Yes, sir. We'll do. Great work. That could have gone a different direction.
Well, we got to do our best to save everyone we can.
And Hera looks to you, Lenora, and she's specialist. Why did you not secure the patient before the operation started? This could have he could have died.
Hera, the specialist did nothing.
At that comment, he kind of like gets up in her face but doesn't say anything.
I look at Hera. The specialist did nothing wrong. Your sloppy work of the laser scalpel caused most of the damage that set us back. I realized that you graduated top marks on your class, but I let you come in here for your experience. You didn't hold the scalpel correctly, and it caused more damage.
But if he had been secured properly, Doctor, as is procedure.
Doctor, the specialist did nothing wrong in this procedure.
Well, the medical guidelines that I am familiar with put it as the role of the anesthesiologist to make sure that the patient has been secured. He was not secured.
Say one more word and you'll find out how good of an anesthesiologist I am.
Specialist. Go ahead and go clean up. We've all had a long day. Dr. Hera. Just because he's not enlisted does not mean he's not a valued member of our team, and you don't disrespect him. He did nothing wrong in this procedure. And the point that you are pointing out things that don't exist really says something about your character as a doctor. I'll make a note of it.
This is not what I signed up for. This is I can't. This sort of thing just shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. This is not how I was trained.
It was your sloppy work. Dismissed.
Let me move scene to the bridge. Mr. Montgomery, hi, Lucia here. It's been pretty quiet here on the bridge. Imperial's just kind of been floating in space in front of you. Your time into your shift. I'd say with the surgery that's going on with Tuvor, you probably would have gotten some notifications just letting you know that things aren't going so well. But from your position on the bridge, there's really not much you do about it. Where you been?
Yeah, I'm just making sure everything's fine, going over a little scan, stuff like that. The routine of an operations manager.
And it's about that time on your scope you detect a unknown object the other side of the Klingon border, headed at probably around warp 5 for the border in your direction. Actually, it's headed towards the star system that is nearest to you guys. It's actually slowing down.
Gonna look at the readings for a moment and then ping the Imperial and then look up to the commander and like, excuse me, Commander.
Yes, Ensign.
Something is registered on my sensors, traveling at warp 5 into our direction right now.
Well, I need more than that, Ensign. Is it a comet? What is it?
Traveling at warp 5, I do not believe it to be a comet. I have pinged the Imperial to see if their sensors are better than ours, to see if they can get a better lock on it. I'm
And
going
you
to
immediately
reroute.
get a transmission from the Imperial. They are going to red alert. They are treating this as a hostile object. They are deploying their tachyon field to start scanning for cloaked vessels.
Commander Lovely, the Imperial has gone to red alert, and they are treating this object as a hostile. I suggest that we fall back.
Very good, Ensign. Let's go to red alert. Call all staff to the bridge.
And yeah, he'll switch to red alert and send out the call for shifts positions to get filled up.
And as you hit the alarm, what happens is the lights on the bridge shift to red, and the emergency alarm happens. The rest of you throughout the ship, you hear the sirens that the ship is facing combat to secure all patients and all senior officers to the bridge. I'm assuming that Isha, you would have made a beeline to the bridge.
Well, I was thinking it probably happened right as I stepped out of the ready room, and it's like, well, I'm here already.
Does Linares have to report to the bridge?
No, actually, none of you guys that were in the surgery room have to report. You can. Linares doesn't really have a position on the bridge, and Tuzon, you don't really either. But you could always go up there, Tuzon, as a third officer if you wanted to. Lovely.
I'll take like my office, and I'm assuming one sick bay has like patient vitals and stuff to be able to monitor and react if needed.
Okay. If you're on your way to the bridge, Captain Williamson takes his chair, and Lovely takes the communication station. And Williamson says to you, Isha, he's like, Lieutenant Isha, what are we looking at?
Scanning it again now, sir.
Why don't you give me a security reason? Difficulty 0, and the ship can assist with a sensor science.
Would you give me shipboard tactical systems as a focus?
I would. And this is doing a technical check on it.
Excellent. Well, I'm just going to roll and see what happens if someone wants to handle the ship.
What's the ship doing?
Sensor science.
I have the sheet up.
That's always a good way to start the roll.
Oh, you guys.
Well, the
Well,
ship's helping.
We succeed, but we have to use that 2 momentum to get rid of the complication.
With your high resolution sensors, you do get a free question.
I will save it until you have given me the opening spiel.
The opening spiel is that it is an object travel. It is not like anything you have ever seen before in Cool. It's about 150 meters in diameter. Don't detect any weapon system.
But it is, as described, a sphere.
Yep, almost a perfect sphere. Of course, it has visual indentations and stuff on it. Does not look like any profile you've also ever seen before.
All right, my question then from high resolution sensors is, what is its composition?
The composition from the computer is it's coming back with lots of elements that have never been detected before and small traces of tritanium.
Well, sir, this is probably a very bad time for it, but my opinion is that we are either dealing with a first contact scenario or someone out there has developed one hell of a weapon.
Mr. Isha, do you think it's a threat?
I'm not detecting any visible or recognizable weapons, but with this kind of composition, unknown configuration, anything's possible.
And Grekin speaks up. Captain, the path it's taking into this system, it's going to be caught by the sun. Yeah, it's not going to be around very much longer. It's You get burned up.
I don't know if this was part of the question. What scale is it exactly?
That would be
You
the
said
lower,
150 meters.
yeah, the lower end of scale 3.
Okay, so it is something we could conceivably tractor beam then.
You could. Mr. Montgomery, why don't you give me an engineering insight difficulty of 1?
Okay.
Very good. So what you can tell is, as Lieutenant Isha is recommending the tractor beam, there was something about the composition of this ship. You're not sure if this is the way it's intended or if this is the result of some sort of situation, but a tractor beam might actually cause it to come to pieces. Like structurally, from your scans, it doesn't look very sturdy.
I would not recommend using tractor beam. The material of the ship resembles that of tungsten. While extremely durable, it is very fragile at the same time. It could shatter the ship.
The captain says, Mr. Montgomery, have you detected any life signs aboard?
Scanning now.
You could roll again, or you can give me that momentum that you earned, and I can give you that answer right away.
Do I actually get that as ops manager?
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, and then also high resolution sensors. I would say, yeah, for free, I'll tell you that the ship keeps telling you that there are no life signs, and then it corrects and says, nope, there are about 100,000 life signs, and then it goes back and says, nope, they're 10, and it keeps going back and forth between those 3 numbers.
So that's one of the questions?
Yeah.
So upon seeing the fluctuating life signs, am I reading any temporal anomalies within?
You are not. You are reading a gravimetric or graviton disturbance around the location from where the sensor started picking it up. And I will say, Isha, when you look at this, when you see this scan, you and Grekin kind of look at each other. Grekin's like, oh, I've seen that before. You remember that thing that nearly took out the Wilder when we were approaching Crucius 4? It was just like that. Well, I mean, the disturbance. I mean, this circular thing. I've never seen that before. But
Wait. You mean the thing that caused the whole zombie episode? You're saying this is one of those things?
no. You remember the thing that we hit that almost caused the ship to crash? You know, I don't usually fly like that when I can. It just we hit something in space, and then I had to dump the deuterium, and almost crash into the settlement.
Without even prompting, I'm just gonna shunt some power to the shields. Like I'm not even waiting. I'm just shunning power to the shields.
Okay.
Captain, the life signs are fluctuating. I am getting inconsistent readings and an anomalous scan.
Okay, Mr. Montgomery. Well, so you can't tell if there's anyone aboard. And Lovely says, I've tried contacting them on all frequencies. I've gotten no response. He says, well, suggestions, people. If there's someone on that ship, we should try to help them, but I don't exactly know what we could do here.
Through the scan that I've done, is their computer able to assist me in finding a docking bay? Docking hatch?
Sure. I will say that without any other additional rolls, because you've been doing so well, you believe you have spotted what could be a docking bay because it's about the right size. It looks like you've never seen this ship before, so it's hard to say, but all things being equal, it could be.
Captain, I believe I found a access port, docking hatch, or docking bay. We could send a shuttle out.
That's a good idea to board them and help them. How long do we have until this thing is picked up by the sun? Montgomery, looking very easily on your scans, you can tell you probably have 2 or 3 hours before this thing gets fried by the sun.
He's about to speak, and then he'll stop for a second, like, about 2 to 3 hours.
All right. And he hits something on his chair. Bridge to Commander Tuzon.
This is Tuzon.
Well, Doctor, sorry to disturb whatever you're working on, but we have another situation. We might have an indeterminate number of injured patients in an unidentified vessel that, well, that might need some assistance. If you could get together your normal crew and let's maybe get the Weiler over there and see what's going on.
Aye, sir. We'll assemble the crew.
Brecken turns to Ish and he's like, well, good luck.
I just sort of look back at him. You're the pilot. You're coming with us, Grecken.
Why do I always get roped in? Okay, you know, of course, it's going to be a dangerous situation, so of course you need me flying. Yeah. Only a hospital ship was good. Slow assignment.
Excuse me, Kraken.
Yeah. What's up? What's going on, Ensign?
This ship, sorry, out of character. Is this ship still traveling at warp?
It's slowing down. It's at sublight now.
Sublight, okay. Like, if this ship is headed towards the star, there is a chance that we could use a artificial gravity well to try and divert it. Something similar to how the USS Enterprise D was able to divert a comet or a fallen asteroid, I believe. Correction, it was a moon from a planetoid. They were able to envelop it with an attractor beam and then push it. Now, while we can't tractor it ourselves to a halt, we could try and nudge it.
And the captain turns to you. Well, Mr. Montgomery, what do you think of the odds that that would be a successful operation?
Given the ability of this vessel, we'd need assistance. I would suggest we hand this task off to the Imperial.
Lovely turns to you and says, the Imperial says that they're monitoring the border. They're expecting a Klingon attack. I think it's going to be just us.
Then I recommend the away team try to stabilize the ship first. Maybe we can divert from inside. But we should start a secondary plan.
Very good, the captain. Very good. This is a great idea, Ensign. Get things prepared. I'd like you on that away team. You seem to. There might be engineering systems that could use your expertise on board.
Yes, sir. He'll get up and go to the turbo lift and just wait there.
Yeah, Isha will go over and join him in the turbo lift post haste.
Okay. I'm
Kraken.
gonna move to the shuttle bay here as everyone is getting assembled. Drag Lunaris along because
I'd probably drag Linaris and probably another doctor just to have somebody else.
okay, tell me who you bring.
Let's take Delix.
Okay.
Can you imagine that when Montgomery left the bridge, he just sent a quick nose down to shuttle bay to get the Weiler set up?
Okay. And as you guys are starting to get ready, let's see, Nurse Wynn catches up with you, and she says to the group, I took the liberty of looking at the sensor scans. There's a lot of radiation in that ship. I recommend you bring Type 3 radiation suits. Type 3 radiation suits are the highest level of protection that you have. She hands you a pad, and it's very obvious. She's put together a report that even with a Type 3 radiation suit, if you guys are on that ship for very long, you're not only going to be in danger, but even when you get off the ship, you're going to have to go through radiation therapy.
I look at the pad. All right, everybody suit up. Win, get everything around for a return for radiation decontamination.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I look at everybody. When we get on there, we're only going to have about 15 or 20 minutes. Anything more than that, then we don't want to be there.
Perkins says, yeah, of course. You know, if it's not zombies or exploding ships, it's being cooked by radiation. You know, it's always fun hanging out with you guys.
Just another day at work.
Well, just think of it, Gregan. Before a lot of the technology we have in medical advancements have been made to this state they are now, you would just die of radiation poisoning. Now, most of the tissue can be replaced, regrown, or completely swapped out with augments.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what I'd love to hear. Tissue regrown. Yeah, I like my tissue the way it is. Thank you.
Just smile.
Sorry, it's so successful with the ladies. I don't want to lose any part of me. And winks at you, Visha.
I just roll my eyes.
Okay, we're gonna move to a scene in space, and what happens is the Wyler pulls away from the back shuttle bay of the Hope, starts to move away. The small object is still moving towards the sun. So I will need someone to do me a roll. It doesn't have to be Grekin if anyone else has a supporting character that they would like to use, and I think Isha, you also have a con skill, but someone can make this check if they don't want to roll Grekin, but it's gonna
I
be
would say if we're not using Grekin, then Serval has a con of 3, so she might be. It's up to you all though, because we would have to definitely spend crew support to bring along your supporting character, and then we'd have to spend one for Serval,
Grekin
and
has
that's
a
2 out of the 4.
yeah. Grekin has a 4 in con.
he
I
also
have a
has a
3 in
value
con.
now. He does have a determination. So
Yeah, I would just say let's just keep using Grekin then.
okay,
And then we can actually beef him again because this is
that's great.
introduced.
But it's going to probably be a con control here. Difficulty of 3. I'm gonna make that a 4 with all this threat.
Can I assist him?
You may. Tell me how you would assist.
Procedural compliance, everything that I've learned on how to handle and maneuver small shuttlecrafts.
Okay, yeah, I'll allow that. Let's do the same, con control. And the shuttle can assist, the Wyler can assist you guys. Let's say con engines. Sounds right.
All right. I
All
can
right,
go ahead.
before we roll, I know this is going to slow us down. We probably should determine if this is a good chance to give Grekin a talent. I'm currently looking through command. If someone wants to glance through the core talents to see if there's any there that we want to give.
I think command has precision maneuvering.
Let's see. I'll go ahead and look through core here. Give me just a second.
Trying to pull up core as well.
Yeah, I would say precision maneuvering is probably the best bet because it reduces the difficulty of a task to a minimum of 0 when attempting a task that requires precise maneuvering or when there is a collision risk, which I believe this would apply.
That's kind of his MO anyway.
Yeah, honestly, I
Yeah.
think precision maneuvering is what we need to give him.
Sure.
I'm on board. Yeah.
I think that puts it down to a difficulty of 3 for him now.
Yep,
Yeah.
Because that all those things could happen here.
Let's see, I can roll for the Wyler. You said it was engines con?
Yeah, engines con.
Okay.
And then for everyone else, I think I said con control. That's Brecken and Kinnis.
I'll roll for Grekin unless someone's already got it.
I have the sheet up, but I don't. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't know. Do you feel lucky?
You haven't rolled yet, so you can. I'll let you do it. I've rolled enough.
Hey, 3 successes.
Oh,
Oh,
supposed to have
well,
one there, sorry.
Well, it's only supposed to.
Yeah,
Doesn't
one die.
exist.
Yeah.
Would it just
Okay.
re-roll that?
We'll drop the complication. It's fine. So that gives you 1 momentum. I believe it's a difficulty 3. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So what we see is the Wyler zooms forward to the sphere. The sphere is kind of spinning around. Grekin back on the bridge of the Wyler, he kind of looks in concentration, and Kinnis, as you're feeding him data to navigate, the ship flips on its upside down because of the docking point. He's actually on the top of the ship, and he follows the circle as it's spinning, and with a slight jolt, he makes a docking connection, and then you guys hear the systems operate. Grekin looks at you, he's like, well, I saved the day again. You can board this monster ship thing that might have something waiting to kill us on the other side.
Just
All
look
right.
at him for a second. I was like, "Thank you."
It's all part of the service. All right, so I'm assuming you guys got to go over. Tell me what you are bringing with you.
The suits, obviously.
Before we get into the suits and everything that there, Kenneth is going to come up with a little box of hyper spray and look at the doctor like, "Doctor, this is I can't say the word myself. Hyronalin. It's I'll pop it in the chat here because I can't say it. It's radiation treatment, essentially.
Ironolin.
Hyronalin. Thank you. It is Hyronalin. It will help with the radiation poisoning. Should give us a little bit more time.
Right. We need all the time we can get.
And Kraken says to you, Tuzan, Commander, permission to stay bravely aboard the shuttle.
We're gonna need our getaway car because if something goes south, or if we're hitting that radiation limit, we're gonna need somebody here that can get us away quickly.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I could safely do. I mean, I could effectively do that from the ship.
Yeah. In other words, keep the engine warm. We'll be back.
Will do, sir. Will do.
You were saying, Montgomery.
Kenneth is going to look at Grekin for a second and just recall the radiation levels. Like, we should also set up a force field or a containment room for when we return. We would be irradiated and could pass off contamination to the environment we're in
Oh,
if we return.
that sounds horrible. Thanks, Ensign. I'll get to work on that. I forgot that. Thank you. You guys are going to need to hang out over there in the back part of the ship by yourself while I am safely, effectively isolated from all that.
No, safely was the correct word there, Grekin.
I'm going to toss Grekin a hypo spray of Hyronalin. Just in case.
He kind of looks at it like it's a snake. What do I take this?
If you're exposed to any radiation, you take it. It helps with the side effects.
Okay, I'll do that. He's
imagine-
really looking at it like it's about to bite him.
I imagine him going like side effects. What side effects?
Hair loss,
Gently places it
skin
down on
loss.
the console.
Well, I'm ready to board this vessel. This is very exciting. My first day.
Well, one thing's for sure, Montgomery. You can't say we're boring around here.
I am excited.
Okay, I'm going to assume that you guys are taking medical kits. Are you taking anything else apart from that in your suits?
I'm taking an engineering kit.
Okay.
Which you get for free? Question mark.
I think I'd let him have it for free.
I'm trying to remember the opportunity cost. Are transporter enhancers 1 or 2?
Oh, I can look it up. I believe, actually, it's not coming up. Let's just say it's 1, because I can't find it.
I'm seeing 2. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm also blind right now, so yeah. I mean, so this is kind of a group decision. The reason I'd want to take transporter enhancers is because if there's that much radiation, it stands to reason that it would interfere with normal transport. So by taking transporter enhancers, we could conceivably beam back if there's a problem.
I think that's smart. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a good idea.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so give me some momentum there for those.
Yeah, I'm dragging. I don't know why it's not dropping.
This deck.
Goes.
I'm pretty sure it's just this roll 20 hates us.
Actually, now that I can see again because I was cleaning my glasses, it is an opportunity of 1, so we're good. We actually keep one of them.
Keep one of those. As you guys step through the docking port into the alien vessel, I actually need all of you to give me a con fitness check, difficulty of 2.
That's a survival focus?
Nope.
Dang. That's like my go-to focus on this character.
I know, and that's why I'm being so strict, because it kind of applies to everything you'll encounter.
Medicinal herbology.
Not yet, no. Not with a con fitness roll, no.
What's the difficulty?
It's a 2.
Well, I failed.
Oh, man.
And you said it was fitness con?
Yeah, fitness con.
Oh boy, my fitness con is hot garbage. It's gonna be fun.
Did you see what I rolled?
Oh no, my fitness con is a 9, but
I guess mine's a little higher than that.
All right, so every one of you failed. So Wyatt's fitness con is, as you push through the docking port into this vessel, the vessel is without gravity. And maybe you guys weren't expecting that, but you all go spiraling into a part of the ship and then bounce off of that, and you're all going into different directions. So it's very ungraceful. You did not enter this situation with much command. You're now all spinning in different directions to the ship.
Click my heels and activate the mag boots.
That's when we
Since
find
you-
out this entire sphere is plastic, not metal.
But what you guys see is the inside of this ship is pretty much hollow, and there's a core of metal that goes through the center, and most of the inside is taken up by plants, like green green plants of some kind that maybe not immediately recognizable. There are some mechanical structures, but for the most part, it's green plants.
Well, this is interesting.
I take out my tricorder and check the radiation levels.
The radiation levels are exceedingly high. Wynn was correct. The suit that you're in is keeping you alive, but when you guys leave, you are going to have to undergo radiation therapy. It is exceedingly hot in this.
in a similar vein, I'm going to just take general scans and see if there's like a class of planet that the atmosphere of this is similar to. Because it seems weird to have this green of a planet with this high of radiation and stuff.
Yeah, why don't you give me a reason science here? Difficulty of 1.
Okay. I do have planetary atmospheres as a focus.
Yeah, I think that'll apply.
Of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, certainly. You with that specific, yeah, that applies here for sure. Oh, you guys.
Oh, so complication, but I do succeed.
Did you just say, oh, he dies?
No, I said, oh, you guys. No, he does. The scan is
Make a new character. Have fun.
Okay, I actually have a complication in mind. Linares, yes, you are familiar with an atmosphere like this. And I'm going to leave it at that because only you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, good. 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 I know exactly what he's talking about, but not going to let you guys know.
It's like feel the love.
Commander Tuzon and Lieutenant Isha, these plants, they shouldn't be here.
Neither should we, but what's your point?
Well, whatever is keeping the plants alive in this thing, gotta be a hell of a piece of technology.
Could it be that the plants are thriving on the radiation?
There are many plants that do that.
Just interesting. But Is there anything that would give us a sign that there are the life signs that we were scanning for earlier here?
To know more, you kind of have to examine some more. You guys are right now
Sure.
spiraling through this sphere ungracefully because you all failed your checks completely. Well, some of you got a success. I'd say Tuzan is the only one that, since he didn't get a success, is the least graceful of you all.
Quick
But yeah, you're all
question about
currently
these
just
suits.
kind of bouncing around the interior.
So are these suits different from EVA suits, or are they just thicker lined EVA suits?
I'm treating them like EV suits that just are built specifically for radiation.
Alright. So I'm gonna kick in if they should have little momentum thrusters.
Yeah, you can stabilize here. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that for everyone. I'm just gonna make sure that they're all not spinning out of control and stationary again, just to reset them.
Meanwhile, I'm playing ping pong with myself.
In Montgomery, yeah, you hit a few buttons, and perhaps the suit was built to handle this on its own. It does right all of you up so that you're not spiraling and just bouncing around anymore. If there was anyone watching you, though, you guys have totally destroyed your cool. Your superhero entry did not happen well here. Not graceful.
Our knees are still intact, everyone.
Well, guess we better start looking around.
The time is ticking.
So who's looking around and doing what?
I'm going to be taking scans.
What are you just getting in general, Tuzan, or is there something specifically you're looking for?
Scanning in general, kind of getting the read on the plants just to see why they exist, seeing if I can locate the life signs, half wondering if the life signs that we found were the plants, kind of thing.
Okay. Why don't you give me a medicine reason? Difficulty 2.
Alrighty. I don't think I have a focus in this one. Unless you'll take genetics.
I'm looking at those now. You do have a focus here. Yep.
I was gonna say I also have herbology. I have medicinal herbology, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll if you succeed, it'll become clear why.
okay. I'll give you a threat for a third die. That was worth it. We got 2 momentum.
Good momentum. All right. So as you scan immediately, Tuzan, what's immediately apparent is these are not your normal garden variety plants, and in fact, these appear to be plants that have been composed probably from some other base material, like a genetic goo or something. But what's also interesting is they appear to have inorganic components as well. And yeah, I'll say that that's what you immediately glean from this.
I pass that along. The plants aren't completely organic. They definitely are artificially created as well.
Interesting. I'm going to be scanning around to see if I can pick up any power lines, anything that I can distinguish as a console.
Actually, if you give me one of those momentum, I will answer a question that will retain directly to that.
I'm for that. Are you guys for that?
Yeah.
Sure. I just got us 2.
Montgomery, it looks like these plants and their structure is actually how this vessel is controlled. You're noticing all sorts of it's like they've infused mechanical controls in a way inside of the plant structures themselves. As you look at the leaves and stuff, there's tiny little medical or not medical but metal sort of inputs on the exterior of the leaves. It's almost like something could use these plants to control the ship.
I'm just gonna reach out and touch one of the leaves just for a second, just to see if anything responds.
When you touch the leaf, you notice because this ship has no gravity, so everything's when you touch the leaf, like a cloud of like little black dust actually comes off of the leaf.
Do anything to the glove?
It's some of it's on your glove, yeah.
I'll start scanning it.
Let's do maybe a medicine reason difficulty 1.
So here. Reason medicine. Just getting used to the new sheet.
Yeah, this sheet's a little bit different.
No focus. And since I'm using a tricorder, I gain a bonus momentum for obtaining information.
Okay. So immediately, what you look at are this black cloud of dust. Actually, very very small insects, and just looking at them, and I'll say Montgomery, you can see them, even though they're very tiny. You can see their details very clearly. They look dead.
The bonus momentum is this because of the radiation?
No, in fact, it looks like the radiation is a part of what they need to survive.
Oh. Who's all looking at me, by the way?
I mean, I'm keeping a general eye on everyone because that's what I need to do as security officer, but it's not like I'm deliberately like glaring at you.
I'm not paying attention to you.
I'm going to rotate, my back turned, and I'm going to remove the glove, and I'm going to put my hand on the flower, or the leaf.
You're gonna die, man.
Give me an engineering. Well, what are you hoping to achieve? I guess from connecting this.
Want to see if I can establish any form of communication with a direct contact.
Okay, let's maybe do an engineering fitness. I'll say the difficulty is going to be a 4. Actually, you know what, guys? 10 threat. We're going to make that difficulty 5.
All right. um, would cybernetics come into play?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm just gonna out myself here. I'm gonna tap my my first value. You want to take a look at it?
Yes, I think that's good.
All right. And difficulty of what? Sorry.
5.
5.
Yep, I got to use all this threat.
Is it from any of the? Is it from the radiation? Is it from the heat?
Oh, the increased complication. I'd say the increased complication that increases the difficulty here is you're trying to figure this out. This is an alien system. You're also trying to do this discreetly without anyone watching or without anyone seeing you. They might be watching you, but I'm assuming you don't want them to know.
Oh, I didn't want them to know me taking my glove off at first. I don't care if they know us now.
Oh, they don't. Okay. I'd say the increase in difficulty is been a stressful day for you guys. It's a new ship, you, a new crew, things like that, and you're also in a ship that's spiraling towards the sun.
You're on a time crunch.
Yeah, and
So, you guys okay if I grab an extra momentum?
Sure.
Or an extra dice? Fingers crossed.
Oh boy.
Wow.
You got 4.
I got 4.
yeah, I have a complication in mind here. Do you want to give me the threat, or do you want me to keep it?
Give me the complication.
Okay,
You-
there is a
you have 2
spark.
moves.
There's a spark from your contact, and you are kicked back. And all of you see, after you hear this shock, you see Montgomery spinning back, kind of back towards you all. It seems like his grab boots have shut off, or his thrusters, because there's no gravity. And you notice that his glove has been removed, and appears to be fine. I mean, well, he's not doing well now, but his hand isn't like melted off or anything, which would probably happen to you guys if you took your glove. Like his body looks fine. It looks like he might have been shocked from some kind of feedback from this thing, but he does have his glove off.
I look over as he's flying and go, Ensign!
I'm just gonna try and reset the thruster pack. So I can restabilize.
Yeah, I think you can do that almost effortlessly. Right?
Yes, Doctor?
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Why do you not have a glove?
I needed to make contact with the leaf.
Get your glove back on before I have to, like, re-put skin on melted everything.
Oh, it's actually not real skin. He'll just float on back to grab his glove.
That doesn't mean I won't have to put things back on a melted body.
Just smile. He's like, as long as I don't get electrocuted again, I think I'll be fine.
What electrocuted you?
The leaf. This is a product of an fusion between organic and inorganic. The occupants, I believe, are very small individuals, creatures, insects. They seem to be dead. I do not know what caused it, but it seems not the radiation. It is part of the ecosystem.
That's interesting.
Here's a question I have really quick. Looking at this metal core here, does it look solid or does it almost kind of look like a liquid? Because the texture kind of looks like it might be.
It looks liquidy.
I'm gonna run a quick scan of it.
Okay. What are you
Just to
hoping to get
confirm.
out of it? Just what it is, or is there anything else?
Just what it is.
Okay, that's only a science reason. Difficulty 2, and if you succeed, it'll become obvious why it's difficult.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask you, I'm going to whisper something to you really quick to maybe use as like a weird focus.
Okay. I think so.
Okay. Of course.
You guys.
I feel like there should be a drinking game, like every time. Competition to
Oh, we would
shot.
have all been blasted an hour ago. Like
You had been blasted from my rolls the first session and still recovering.
Linaris, I will say, I'm going to hold on that complication for a second. You don't really get anything from this scan. Like, this is a funky looking material. What you do notice is above you, sort of here in one of the leaves, is another one of those tiny, tiny bugs. You probably didn't even notice it, but for some reason you feel sort of an instinct to look up to it. And you look up, and there's a tiny little bit of motion. Like, these things are like the size of like a grain of sand. Like, they're super, super tiny. But it kind of moves a little bit, and in your mind you don't exactly hear these words. It's not like a vocal communication in your mind. You just get this feeling. It's like it's been communicated somehow to you, and what you hear in your mind is, beware of the prisoner, he has escaped. And that connection is.
Did anybody else hear that?
The moment he says it, I'm going to start writing a scan on him to make sure he's okay.
Will scan Linaris?
Yeah.
All right. Give me Linaris. Give me a medicine reason, difficulty 6. And if you succeed, I will tell you why, and it will be very obvious.
For the record, I just want to say that it's fun to speculate what everybody's secret thing is, but mine is always up front. It's like, oh, I'm just this species. Everybody else has these backstories. It's fun guessing. I just want to say that.
There is a reason. I'm not just being a cruel GM. There is totally a reason, and I know Spencer's sitting there like, okay, but that's because you're scanning Spencer specifically to know more about his character. Yeah, you would need to achieve a difficulty of 6.
Oh, okay. So you said Linares to make that roll. So
No, for you, you're scanning Linares.
Okay, what was the roll again? Sorry.
It's a medicine insight. Or sorry, medicine reason.
Again, automatic success. Just from 1. So no focuses. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Linares looks just like a Bajoran. He looks a little confused, probably a little tired. I mean, he did zap himself with a stimulant earlier, so there's that too to contend with. But that's all that you can get from that.
Okay. Making sure he wasn't, getting radiation poisoning and hearing voices.
So let's assume for a second you're not going crazy. What did you hear exactly?
To look out for a prisoner because they've escaped.
So I'm just going to throw this out here as a tactical possibility. Torch the place and leave?
I mean, it's an option, but
Well, we
who
are
knows what this prisoner is, though?
Tucson, your communicator does beep. Here. This is Commander Lovely from the Hope away team. Check in.
Is got it out here.
Tucson, I think they communicated to you.
Yeah. Well,
He's muted at the moment. He might be on a call or something.
No,
okay.
I totally did it. I was coughing and I thought I turned it back on because I was over here talking.
Nice.
Oops.
I said, this is Commander Tucson. Commander, it's interesting in here. Even with the high radiation levels, there's plant life in here.
Well, Doctor, I'm glad you're having fun, but you don't have much time left in that ship before anything, including yourself, is destroyed.
We know we have our countdown timers. So far, we haven't found anything that resembles, like, I don't want to say complex life, Commander, but we do have a lot of scans on the of the ship. It seems like the plant life is what controls the ship, and seems to be organisms, judging by some of the scans, like bugs, but nothing other than that.
That sounds fascinating, Commander. I can't wait to read your report. However, what can you do there? Your time is ticking.
We're just taking the last bit of scans, seeing if we could locate a source of any more of those life signs, and we're out of here.
Very good. Please move with haste.
It'll do.
Communication cuts off.
All right. Everybody, one last round of scans, see if we can find where the life signs were coming from, and then we got to get out of here.
So you guys can roll if you want, or I'll let you succeed at cost the check to see what life is left on the ship.
I can roll.
Roll. Okay. It's let's do a medicine reason difficulty of 1.
Would my herbology focus work?
I think so, because plants are also kind of coming into a factor here. Nice.
I didn't fail.
2 momentum. Very good. It looks like the only thing that's up on this vessel that's alive, apart from the 5 of you, is this little bug.
I take out a specimen jar and put the bug in the specimen jar before telling everybody, all right, we got to get out of here?
Sir, put some plant material in with it too. We don't know if it needs the plant too.
I take a pair of scissors and cut a piece of the tree.
Okay, you put that piece of the plant in the container with the little bug. Like I said, the bug is super tiny, so it's actually even a little difficult in your suit to round it up and get it in the container. But after a few seconds, you've managed to get it in there.
All right, everybody, let's head back before there's nothing left.
We still have a couple of hours, the last estimate. Radiation levels are increasing, though, for your resistance, so it would be advised to return. But I would remain and continue to try and establish connection with the ship.
I feel like it's too risky with it getting closer and closer to the sun, the star of the system. We don't know what kind of gravity distortions or whatnot we might run into. We might not be able to get you back.
Could be more alive.
I understand that, Ensign, but the risk of losing you if we are not able to get back to rescue you is too great.
Then can I ask for 5 more minutes?
The rest of us will return to the shuttle. You have 5 more minutes because then you need to be back.
Understood, sir.
Okay.
Commander.
Yes.
If you'll allow me, I would like to stay behind with the ensign as well.
Specialist, you cannot resist radiation.
Well, neither can he, but he's staying behind.
He can resist radiation a little bit better than you can. Trust me.
I'll explain when I'm back on the shuttle.
Specialist, I know. But I promise he can withstand this better than your body can, considering I know what your physiology is.
It's at this point that Ish is like probably literally dragging them towards the shuttle, probably with protest.
I'm gonna try something really quick, just thinking in my head. I would like to try and establish a connection with the bug and ask it just mentally, can I stop this thing?
All right.
Sure. Let's maybe do a command control difficulty of 4. I'm gonna make again a threat. I'm gonna make it a 5.
Okay. Control command. I'm gonna take all that momentum to get 4 dice. And I'll ask the same question that I whispered to you, Josh. Could I use that as a focus?
I don't think so.
Okay. Now we just hope I crit. Oh, so close.
Yeah. You get a bit of a headache, and that's about it. Okay, so at this point, is everyone moving towards the shuttle, and Montgomery and Linares are staying behind?
Montgomery's staying behind. Linares should be coming with us.
He kind of stands his ground.
Nothing to stand upon.
Well, you know what I mean.
I look at him. I don't like pulling the rank card, but this is an order.
Specialist, if you don't come with us now, I will be forced to stun you.
Let's not use phasers in a highly radiated area. We'll just pick him up.
He just kind of looks to the ensign.
Give him a smile.
Says, better know what the hell you're doing, and goes onto the shuttle.
Okay, so I'm going to take everybody except for Montgomery off. Eventually. There we go. So Montgomery, as soon as everyone gets aboard the shuttle, what immediately happens is this silvery liquid, uh, as they have left and they're back on the ship, you look back and a part of the silvery liquid, say maybe like over here, starts to coalesce and form, and it's forming into a face. And as the time continues more and more, it's starting to form a face that looks just like Linaris. And as time goes by, it gets more and more detailed.
Fascinating. I'm going to try and use my tricorder to make a connection to the plants, and trying to quickly do a rough translation if I'm getting anything to try and steer the ship.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the face as I'm doing this.
Yeah. Let's do an engineering daring here to connect to this interface again. I'd say the difficulty is going to be a 4 increased with a 5 with some.
Daring, you say? Daring.
Yeah.
Oh. Well. How you guys feel if I just dump a bunch of threat on them? Don't
I
think
mean, you might as well try.
Yeah.
It's towards the end of the session. It's fine.
I'm just gonna quickly check what technical expertise does again for me.
If you use computers or sensors, I think you get additional D20.
Okay, but not tricorder. Computer sensors. Chips, computers. Dang. Alright. I'm gonna give you a bunch of threats. I get 5 dice.
Okay.
Xenolinguistics as a focus?
Yeah, I'll let that. So you're giving me 6 threat, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Xeno what as a focus?
Xenolinguistics.
Oh, okay.
Joel's the first.
Yeah, not Xenolinguini. Although that'd probably be very tasty.
I would love that as a specific focus. I would try to work that in.
That's another oddly specific focus. Even more specific than planetary atmospheres.
I will rewrite the end of this session to figure out how to incorporate that if that's actually
If you're the ship's cook, could be good.
Alright. There we go.
Who?
6 successes? Did you have determination in there?
No.
Yeah, so 6 successes, that gives you 1 momentum. You've established a connection with this system. I'll say immediately what you can tell is it's actually starting to break down. Not just because you remember when you did the first scan and you saw like the tractor beam could compromise the hull. It's like the ship itself is starting to break.
Okay. Can I access flight controls?
You can.
So I want to, based off my memory of the trajectory it's going to take, was it dead center star, or was it going to go like, I want to try and steer to whatever side would have to travel less to get away from the star.
Yeah, so what it was doing is it wasn't actually traveling at the star, it was just getting close enough for the gravity of the star to pull it in.
Okay, I want to try and steer it away far enough from the gravity well.
It's not going to be strong enough with the power of this vessel to do that.
Then, and the last life sign was confirmed was that little bug.
Yeah, that was Little Bug. I will say this: you now have pretty much total access to the system. So, you get 1 extra success. Yeah, you get 1 extra success. I'll let you ask me 1 question about this system of this entire vessel, because you have total access. Since I took away your ability to control the ship, I'll give you at least some answers.
Who is the prisoner?
The prisoner is not what you would think. Your first thought was the prisoner was someone on this ship. When you try to access anything about a prisoner and the database, it returns a puzzling response. It actually returns an entire planet.
Oh. Then yeah, I'll take that planet information, save it to a tricorder, and if it's possible to try and download what I can of this vessel, like its history, where it was constructed, anything that would be considered a local star chart for it.
Sure. It looks like it is not even from this galaxy, from what you can tell. The stars, you can immediately put where the stars together are. It is not from our galaxy. It's not from the Andromeda galaxy. It's out from one of the Magellanic clouds, actually, is where it's.
Right. And just before my 5 minutes are up, I'm going to look at the face.
Yeah, the face is pretty much resolved into a perfect reproduction of Linares.
Tilt my head side to side, see if it mimics.
It's not. And as you're there, it continues to, now that it's got his face, it's actually copied his earring.
One last tricorder scan to scan it.
Sure. I'll let you do one more scan, and then you're going to be starting to rub over the time that Tuzan gave you. What do you want to get out of the scan?
What's it made from? Like, what is it exactly?
Okay.
Is it a life form?
Why don't you give me an engineering insight here? Probably a difficulty 5. Not going to put threat on that. If you succeed at 5 again, I know that's a high roll, but I'll give you the answer. It'll hopefully be obvious why it was so hard.
I'd say go for it. It's the end of the session. We have a momentum. Just go for it.
Dump it all into dice?
Yeah, do it.
Alright. So that's 5 more threat for him, I believe.
Yep.
Alright.
Whoa.
Insight. Eesh.
Hey!
Oh no!
All right, I got to give it to you since you succeeded so much here. So what this material, it is a vicious compound. It looks like it's packed with liquid deuterium. It's definitely organic. It's got lots of protein molecules in it. It looks like it could be pretty resilient. And in fact, because of who you are, Linares, because of who you are, Montgomery, you would probably know this immediately. This is the exact same material that Voyager reported back in the Delta Quadrant. This is a silver blood material.
So that's sentience then.
It's creepy, but this head of Linares you see in front of you might have a bit of sentience.
Alright, that's all I needed to hear. I take off my helmet, and I hold out the helmet for it to get into, as much as it can.
Well, it's still sort of connected to this silver stream. It's sort of like it's like the back of the head is still a part of the silver column, which stretches up to the middle of the ship. It's like it was slowly copying his face, and it's still in a process of copying a part of his, like now it's moving onto his neck. So it's not really detached yet. You can't scoop it out with your helmet yet. It's like it's slowly forming his body.
Ensign Montgomery to Commander Tuzan.
This is Tuzan Montgomery. You're down to seconds.
I'm going to need more time. I have a life form here.
Explain.
The column in the middle, it is reacting and changing. I need time for it to become free, but it is aware.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't know how much time I can buy you with Lovely.
Looking at the acceleration and the growth and the mimicry, how long would it need?
Probably a few hours.
A few hours?
Yeah.
Oof.
and said I might be able to, but I don't know that I can get you more than that with Lovely. And trust me, you don't want to be on her bad side.
Is there any way I could accelerate its reproduction, replication?
You probably could if you could figure out what is actually how this is happening. You could maybe design a system to accelerate it. Now, the difficulty to that, and if you have time, that is also going to be a factor in the role that you do. But you probably could. It's using proteins. It's using genetic structure. It's possible you could accelerate it.
How much of a chunk would I need to cut off of this column for it to turn into a replica?
It's hard to say because you don't really have a good way to tell how much it's actually used of its mass to create the Linares copy. Because you haven't seen visually any difference from the column. Like it hasn't gotten like noticeably smaller. It's just like the space that was there now has like a Linares head pocket. And I laughed because that image is probably hilarious.
I was just thinking, like, what happens with oh, we can't really use phasers in this radiation.
It would have unexpected results.
I was thinking of a good idea that Isha had recommended, focusing it into a scalpel and literally trying to cut a large enough chunk out. Commander, we have to try. It is a life form.
I will communicate with Lovely, but again, I guarantee nothing from her response.
Understood. I will work on a solution here.
And on the communication, you all hear this. It's Commander Lovely, and she says to you, Dr. Tuzon, you want to risk all 7 life forms on your shuttle for the possibility of rescuing one life form that you're not even sure is a life form, also defying orders. What do you think about that? Tell me.
Last time I checked, it defines when you don't ask.
Again, Doctor, your humor is lost on me.
Life forms, we are out here on a mission to protect life forms, to find life forms, for exploration. It is part of the core of Starfleet and the Federation. We have a little bit of time. If we want to, we can return to the Hope, leaving Montgomery to try to figure out what is happening. We can come back with fresh suits and try again. Try to help it out.
I'm going to cut into this conversation. Commander Lovely?
Yes, Specialist.
The atmosphere in that sphere is the same as a class-wide demon planet. He's not going to have long. If anything, he needs to get the hell back on the Weiler.
I just look at you.
Dr. Tuzon, do you also share this opinion?
I look at Linares. He can withstand a Class Y, atmosphere for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm just going to be that bird tweeting about the fact that we maybe only have 30 minutes before we fall into a sun.
Oh, we had a couple of hours.
We don't have the time that you're talking about here. We need to either leave now or doom us all. That's kind of the situation we're at right now.
Well, the Weiler is attached to it. Could the Weiler take over it and change its trajectory?
Well, to restate the facts about, because it's been a while since I was giving all this information out. So the ship, the integrity of the ship is compromised too. It's kind of coming apart. Actually, inside of the vessel too, Montgomery observed that like the plant material is losing its cohesion. whatever it is that's assembled this thing is just like on the lowest level starting to break down. Tractor beam would probably tear it apart. Try to pull away from the star. At this point, it can't do it either. So a course correction with the Weiler might have the same sort of situation that a tractor, and that is just leave the ship in a not in a very good way.
I'm just stating it's worth seeing what the life form is. Life is life. We're out here to protect life. It's part of the cores of what we are part of. And considering we're on a medical ship, preserving life is also a little bit more core value in our mission.
Quick question: was the pillar? I keep forgetting this. I'm sorry. Was it a solid, like a hard solid, or was it more fluid-like?
It's more fluid. It's like a big column of mercury in appearance, and then sort of how it looks too. Or at least how it responds. Like it's like a rolling liquid of almost metal.
Like molasses metal, like it's very slow moving.
Yeah, very slow.
All right. Uh, I'm getting out completely of my radiation suit, the
Okay.
EVA suit. Um, just because I don't know what it needs to survive, I'm going to take a few samplings of the plants, and I'm going to vent all the oxygen in the air tanks and
Okay.
replace it with the oxygen inside of this vessel.
Okay.
Or the atmosphere.
I'm gonna spend 2 threat here to do a reversal to just end the scene early, and I'll just conclude up here what I think you were going for, Montgomery, and certainly let me know if that's not right. But I think what you're trying to do is pull a sample of this thing into your suit that you can bring back to the shuttle.
Trying to fill the suit, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it has enough to make a person.
Cool. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can manage that, and then you make your way back to the shuttle very, very easily. I will say that everyone on the shuttle notices that Montgomery did this. Like he's out of the suit and he's back on the ship and he's carrying a suit full of stuff. I don't really know what that is. And at this point, got the scene. The Waller manages to pull away from the circular vessel, which continues on its trip towards the sun. But Grecken gets you guys back to the Hope, and the Hope manages to land and I'm sorry, the Waller manages to land back into the docking bay of the Hope very easily. Now that you guys are away from this sphere, which is moving its way into the sun for total destruction.
Very awkward and silent shuttle ride.
Put you guys back in the shuttle bay. As you're stepping off the shuttle bay, everyone has maybe their suit helmets off, except for Montgomery, who's not wearing a suit at all. And drop Wynn in here, and she says, we need to get you guys to decontamination right away to begin the radiation.
Montgomery just nod, like, yes. Do we have sufficient reading on what type of radiation was being produced by that vessel?
I'm gonna make up the radiation is zeta radiation. Very rare.
It would be prudent for us to try and replicate that type of radiation for the life forms. It may be needed for their habitat.
Wynn says, okay, I will get right on that. So that's a good advice, Ensign. Although I think I'm surprised that you're standing here with the amount of radiation you must have taken. I would expect it to have killed you.
He just smiles like, no, I'm built more sturdy than that. Like, first day is rather exciting. I expected it to go on a little longer, but
I just looked at you. Welcome to the Hope.
I will
And-
still need to be decontaminated, though.
And to close things up, since we are getting close to time, our last scene be at a cargo bay on the Hope. Linares You are working on a box or a container here. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Okay, so essentially what this is, it's a box that looks to be a slightly larger than what would be able to contain a person. And he kind of works on some things like putting in a bunch of different codes and moving different parts of the box. And he opens it, and inside, there is somebody who looks exactly like him. And he kind of just takes out a hypo spray, and he's gonna wake this guy up.
The guy starts to wake up. What? No, it's you again. No, you can't.
I simply pull my phaser out and point it at him. Shut up.
Okay. Puts his hands up.
Now, the things I've been getting visions of, your Maquis, the different types of medical things that you know, you're going to take the time and you're going to tell me everything you can about them. And he'll just kind of reach his hand forward, and you see it start to become the same kind of liquid that you saw in the sphere.